Hi, it's Sandy Wiley. In the last video I did about narcissism, I compared a narcissist to a chameleon. Someone that always changes their colors to blend into their surroundings. And today I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that theory. I'm going to say, and I'm not a psychologist, so don't quote me. This is only my personal opinion. I'm not coming on as a professional, but this is my opinion, and I've been around narcissists for a very, very long time. I believe, in my personal opinion, that they have no identity, okay? You guys out there know Taylor Swift, right? I'm not saying she's a narcissist. I'm just talking about her song, Blank Space. Now, in that song, Taylor Swift's song, Blank Space, two of the lines read, and I wrote them down so that I'd be quoting them accurately, because in old age, I forget everything. And two of the lines in that song, she says, "Find out what you want. Be that girl for a month." So this is what a narcissistic person does. A person with a narcissistic personality disorder, they don't have any identity. So just like in the Taylor Swift song Blank Space, what they do is they try to find out whoever they want to manipulate, whatever they want to get their narcissistic supply from. They find out what that person wants, and they become that person. They take on that identity. Now, I'm going even deeper into this. Why do they take on that identity? Well, the obvious reason is so that they can get whatever they want from the person. If they seem just like the person, then that person is going to, emotionally attach to them very fast, because they'll feel like they met their twin flame, their soulmate. But growing up, the narcissist probably learned this innately, subconsciously, without realizing it, because they were so abused as children that in order for them to even, be able to function, they had to take on the identity of the person who abused them. It's kind of like the Stockholm syndrome. Now, the Stockholm syndrome is that, if you've Patty Hearst, that's a perfect example, where she was abducted and severely traumatized by her kidnappers. So what happened is she took on their identity and became, remember the bank robbery, became one herself, in order for her to survive in that horrific, traumatic kidnapping experience. She had to become one. Subconsciously, she did. She probably wasn't even aware. For her survival, she had to. Okay? So, as children, all right, these children who were severely, even tortured, severely abused, they had to find a way to survive. How do you survive, like horrendous abuse? And I don't have to go into the details. You can come up with all the different kinds of torturous ways to abuse, or how a parent or caretaker could abuse someone. But in order to survive that, they had to take on the identity, and they do that, and they probably don't even do it consciously, of the abuser, to please them, right? So if they please them, then they wouldn't be abused, right? Like walking on eggshells. If your parent, a child, all the child wants to be is loved and accepted. No different than adults, right? That's all a child wants, just to love and acceptance. And they'll do anything to get that, which means that there'll be anyone that the mother, father, or caretaker, whoever it is, there'll be anyone that parent needs, so they can get that love. And then that plays out into their adult life, where they become anyone, so that they can get their needs met. It's all on a, you know, subconscious level. When they're young. Maybe when they're older, it isn't so much. Then they become mass manipulators. But so what I'm trying to say is, this is why they become the chameleon, because they have no identity. So this is just my personal opinion, saying this. It must be a horrible thing to be a blank space. Like I'll go back to that song again, because this is a perfect example of what I'm trying to express here in this video. And Taylor Swift's song, Blank Space. That's what the narcissist is. A blank check, a blank space to be filled in. You see? They're blank. They're nil. They don't exist. They're a blank space. So, in order to get what they need, they become, their identity becomes whoever they're going after for their supply. So they'll find out what you want, be that girl or guy for a month, be the person that the other person wants, like be the perfect twin flame, be the soulmate. That's exactly what, when I said in my last video, Christopher Watts did what Shanann wants, right? He became what she needed. That wasn't him. It was a role. It was a role he was playing. Who is Christopher Watts? He's a narcissist. He's no one. He's a blank space. Now, this is just my opinion. So I don't want y'all yelling at me. Don't call me a no one, because, you don't know nothing. You're not a psychologist. That's right. It's my opinion. You can disagree with it all you want. This is my channel, my YouTube channel. And I'm telling you, I'm not a psychologist, but I'm almost 60. I've been around narcissistic people long enough to know that narcissistic people, in my opinion, and it's not professional, have no identity. They're a blank space. So they take on, that's how they can take on someone else's, that's how the identity and become that role, So Shanann was very sick, he went with her for, when she had colonoscopies. He took care of her. He let her sleep on his lap for hours and hours when he had to go to the bathroom. I mean, this is all well known and documented anyway, that she said, that he did this. Why did he do this? Because that's what she needed. She needed someone, to help her, because she was a very sick woman, even though she didn't look sick on the outside. I think she had lupus. She was very sick and struggling with a lot of ailments that people just didn't recognize. And so he became that. He became that person that she needed. That's why she said, he's the best thing that ever happened to me. But he wasn't that person. He was no person. He was nobody. He was nobody. He would just become the identity of whatever person he was seeking at the time. And it all stems from childhood, trauma from childhood, where the child needed to take on the identity of the caretaker and become what that caretaker needed, just to get that love, to get their basic needs met. That's how horrific it is, just to get their basic needs met. And they didn't get, obviously. They had to become whatever the parent or caretaker needed them to be, And so that's how they grew up being narcissistic. It's usually from, really horrific. Every one of these mental illnesses, like borderline personality, you're looking at her right here, I'm a borderline. It all stems from childhood abuse. All of these things do. So then I guess the next question is, well, if I have no identity, who am I? And how do I become? How do I become without taking on the identity of someone else? It's almost like that suit in Spider-Man, the Venom suit. That's what it just remind me of. The Venom suit can attach to someone and then they become Venom. That's another good example. That just popped in my head. I already had the idea of the Taylor Swift before I did this video. But yeah, like the Venom suit, right? If you've seen Spider-Man or Venom, it attaches to the person and then they become Venom. Well, if you don't have any identity, then, if you're a nothing or nobody or blank space, that's why they say, not me who says it, narcissistic personality disorder, there is no cure. I mean, that's what some of the literature says. I haven't read all the literature, but a good amount of literature says there is no cure for narcissistic personality disorder. Therapy doesn't seem to help them. Does it? I mean, if any of you are narcissistic, has therapy, and you went to therapy, would it help you? Therapy has never helped me. It's only made me worse. I don't know how you cure someone like that. Unless they have a really good role model who they attach their identity to and take on that. That's what children do anyway, right? They kind of like learn from their parents what is right, what is wrong. Who teaches them? Their parents. So I would suppose, in my unprofessional opinion, that for narcissists to heal or try to get better, to try to find a role model, a person who has good morals, good ethics, and try to take on their identity enough for it to stick. Try to take on, but I don't know how that would happen because they're always, I don't know. It's just a guess. Just being around people who are good influences. The right crowd, being in with the right people that, positive people that they could, take a little bit of their person on internally in themselves, like a good positive role model, someone like that. But this is, I'm not saying that would cure the narcissist. I'm just saying that might help if they had those good positive role models or people in their life where they lacked that in their childhood. They didn't have that. If they had that somehow in their adult life. But so that's my 2 cents worth about the narcissist not having any identity, being that blank space, and taking on the identity of whoever, like the Venom suit, attaching it to, and that the only way, basically, I think, to help them is if they had some sort of positive role models, people they associate with in their personal life, where they could try to attach their identity and become like better people. They say you are who you associate with. So if you get in with the wrong crowd, it can ruin your life. Like I said in the last video, the wrong person can destroy your life. Well, reverse it, right? A good person can probably help your life if you reverse that. If the wrong people can destroy your life, what about the right people? What about good people with good high morals and ethics? Maybe they might have a little impact. Maybe the narcissist, who's a blank space anyway, right, can take on some good attributes from them. Think about it. Maybe that that possibly could help. Anyway, so that's my 2 cents. And, leave me some comments if any one of you are narcissists out there. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or what is your opinion? I'm always welcome to opinions as long as it's not mean and spiteful, or saying something derogatory about me, or. Um, so there you have it. Have a good day.